Stars! Hope you're all fierce. Welcome to The Performer's Path, the podcast where we delve into the highs and lows of the performance industry and beyond. If it's using your creative juices for onstage, in auditions, or those in between jobs, we discuss it all with real people in the industry who've been there and got the t-shirt as a gift. By discussing audition rejections and success, we're taking away the fear of the unknown, whilst also giving vital tips for success. So let's tread the boards together in this week's episode. In Anya's final episode, we talk about Audition Club, a checklist of singing teachers' contacts, and she talks about doing the thing that scares you, the beautiful journey of finding who you are and why you're doing this.
I actually think everybody should be a swing once in their career, because I think until you have been a swing, you never ever appreciate a swing's job. Like, you just don't, and you have such a different appreciation for the job and the show once you've been a swing. I think it's very easy to underestimate how important that job is and how hard it is until you've done it. Like, definitely for me, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, they're amazing. But then once I'd done it, I was like, I have a whole new appreciation for it. So yeah, I think it is such an amazing experience to have, but it isn't for everyone. It definitely is not for everyone. You know, some people just want to turn up and know what they're doing every single day and do that very well. Whereas some people are like, no, I really love to do something different every day. And that's what I thrive off. So I think it's also about learning about whether that is something you'd even want to do, you know, because it definitely is not for everybody.
What was your first experience of being a swing?
When I went into Mamma Mia on the UK tour, because I'd already done it in Germany, they were like, would you consider being a swing? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, a bit like, yeah, of course I will. Give me anything. And I think that was actually a really good first job to have as a swing.
Because you knew the show already.
Completely, yeah. And that's what most people, I think, do tend to do. Like, if they stay with the show, they sort of second year say, like, can I move to swing? Because you do already have such a really good knowledge of the show, which is mostly really important. And then you're not just trying to learn the show and 7 tracks, you know, you've already learned the show, you know. So now it's just like layering.
So what's the difference between the experience of knowing the show, nerves-wise, as in when you don't know the show and you go in as a swing?
So that was kind of what I had for, I guess, Wicked and this, really. I didn't know the show. And you just really have to know, I think, where to put your focus. And sometimes that isn't always clear. But I think a lot of people go in being like, okay, I've got 6 tracks to learn. I'm going to know them all. And actually, like, that's really not going to help you. You have priorities now, generally for a reason. So we kind of get like 1 or 2 priorities. For the first few months, you just go, that's where my focus is going to go. I'm going to learn the show as this person. So I know the show fully as this one track. And then when you start to learn the next track, you go, oh, it's actually the same, but they're just on that side of the stage.
Yeah.
Or we just do a few things opposite.
Pattern. Yeah,
exactly. And that's it. You make these patterns and you make these formulas like in your mind of like the front 4 do these, the back 2 do this, whatever it is. Kind of not being too overwhelmed really is key, because you will just always be overwhelmed as a swing, because it's your job to have all this knowledge. But actually, like, no human can really retain all of that knowledge unless you've done the show for 5+ years, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Even as a DC, you have to be able to go back and like check your maps and be like, oh, you should be here, not here, whatever it is. We don't have to have all of this knowledge of the show. It's just that you know that if you need to have it, you can learn it and you will have it, kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, just like getting everything down on paper really, or like in a format that makes sense for you, but like really honing in on what do I need to know now? So even now, for example, like I'll go in and say, I don't know, 2 of the swing girls are on and there's 4 of us. Then me, the other swing girl that left, to say like, okay, who's left? So if this person goes off, if this person goes off, and if this person goes off, who's going to take who? So then that day we can like look at those tracks just in case something happens, you know, and just see like where we're vulnerable that day so that we can have that like fresh in our brains. But yeah, you're never going to know everything. So I think just finding an actual focus and not being overwhelmed by the process, because it can be so overwhelming.
Can't it? It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very, very rewarding. And many people are like, you know, swings save the show. And, you know, in some cases, yes, they do. You know, in some cases, they really do. And it is incredible. And I think it's so great that nowadays we're kind of getting a little bit more acknowledgement generally within the industry, which is really nice, because I think that's kind of been, again, a bit of an unspoken thing for a long time. But they kind of really are the backbone, you know, understudies equally, like covers as well. But it is mad to think like, oh, yeah, that wouldn't really happen if all of us were off. that day, you know, whatever it is.
And you have that perspective of it and that appreciation because of the Cher job as well.
Yeah, 1000%. That's kind of one thing I sort of vouch now. Like, again, if I got offered a job and they were like, can you be DC? I'd be like, okay, how many swings do I have?
Yeah.
And what does this look like? Do I have an assistant? Like, I just now know what I didn't know then. And I would ask for these things. And they say, no, we can't have swings or whatever it is. Then I would have to decide, is that a job that I would want to do? And now, to be quite honest, it probably wouldn't be, because it's just not worth the stress.
It's not.
And I do think we should be working in an environment where it is possible to have days off. You know, we're sick, we're not robots, we're going to get sick and personal things are going to happen. So we do need, yeah, exactly. We need holiday, and we need, the show needs to be fine without us in a way, you know, equally. And that's kind of, fortunately or unfortunately, not up to us. That's up to the gods above and the producers to kind of enable that for us. It shouldn't be left on the performers, kind of, you know.
Shouldn't.
Yeah,
I agree. And we have enough to take on and to chew without swallowing the whole show as well. It's enough.
Yeah, and it doesn't enable anybody to do their job well, you know, and that's what I mean when I talk about the product. You then don't get the best out of your show, you know, and that matters. You know, otherwise, why do we do it? We don't do it to put on, I don't want to say half-assed thing. Like, we do it because it's creative and it's art and we're showing something, and we want that to be like the best version, not the cut show version all the time. People are still paying £100 a seat, you know, they're not paying cheap tickets. They're insane now, and they deserve that quality equally, you know, as much as we deserve to feel part of something that we're really proud to be part of.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. So what's the new aspiration? You've hit all these major goals.
Well, I think it's a bit different for me now, because I'm at a different point personally in my life. 34 now, and have my house and, you know, getting married next year. So there does come a point where the personal side of life becomes equally as important, if not more important than the work. You know, I've achieved a lot of things I'm really, really pleased with. I'm really proud of.
You really should. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. I've had so much luck, but also I feel like the hard work has paid off. So I'm sort of almost looking for a new goal in a way. And I think that for me means being at home. So that would mean something in town and something that I can maybe sit in for a little while, whatever that looks like, and then have more progression, whether that be like covering more or maybe going back to DC. I'm not like, oh, I need to be a DC. I've done it and I've had my time. I enjoy the responsibility, but I'm not like, oh, I need that. Just being on stage is enough, and really enjoying covering. So sort of moving up the ranks that way might be like the next step. And also like really thinking about longevity, to be honest, you know, thinking about like how it would look if I continued in this industry for the next maybe like 10 years, you know, what would that look like for me? So that's going to look like covering more and going into more singer tracks and singer roles.
So training wise, do you still have your singing lessons? Do you still go to dance classes? What do you recommend that people keep up whilst you're still in the job? And what kind of things that you use to look after yourself?
Looking after your body, number one. So training is important outside of the show, whether that's yoga or bar or something, you know, it doesn't have to be crazy hits in the gym, but just definitely looking after my body so that it is show ready.
Yeah.
Because especially as a swing, you're not in the show every day. So that is really important. And then, vocally, you know, you're singing the same thing every day. So you're using those muscles, but you're maybe not singing what you would sing for auditions, or if you want to cover and do those roles, you know, you're not singing and using that all the time.
Yeah.
So if you can, and you want to keep up that, like, definitely, like, you're going to forever be going to singing lessons. It's just something you're always going to keep up. Kind of never stop training.
How do you do that while you're on tour? I mean, do you have a network of singing teachers?
For me, yes, especially because of COVID, everything is online now. So you can do your singing lessons online. I mean, dance stuff, not so much online anymore, maybe. But singing lessons, you can definitely do online.
Have you got like a bank of people? Especially because you came from the dance side, from that fear of singing, all that kind of stuff. I'd be really interested to get a list of contacts from you.
Definitely, I've got a lot. And I feel like I've really been through a lot, because I've kind of been doing this for 10 years now, but sort of always wanted to keep my training up personally. So I feel like I have found my people.
So I know that when you first started singing, knowing you will have felt extremely nervous about that.
Horrendous. Yeah.
How did you cope with those nerves? The actors, they're terrified of the dancing, but the dancers are terrified of the singing. What advice would you give?
First of all, I guess you do have to do the thing that scares you. Like, that's just inevitable. Putting yourself in that place of vulnerability is kind of the only way through.
The only way is through.
The only way is through. No, it is, there is no, if you don't do it, you will never do it. Putting yourself in a situation where it's safer at first is always good, rather than being in front of 10 people. You're in front of 2 people that you feel fine to muck up in front of, or to crack in front of, or whatever that is. We do a lot at work, audition club. So we will sing for each other before we're going in for an audition. So in the dressing room, audition club.
And you call it audition club. That's so cool.
So we'll just do our material in front of each other, because if you can sing in front of your peers, you can definitely sing in front of strangers, or a panel of people. And it just sort of gets you feeling what the nerves feel like whilst you're singing. My singing teacher also said to me, she was like, you're never going to sing a perfect audition. You're never going to sing perfectly in an audition, because you are going to be nervous, and that's just kind of how it is. So she was like, you just need to be comfortable with that and almost accept that. And just, again, it's the good enough thing. You will produce something that's safe and that's good enough, and finding that, rather than expecting it to be maybe your best work, because it's not going to be. You're in a heightened situation. So it's probably not going to be 100% what you're capable of, but it's going to be good enough, and trust that it will be good enough. And again, practice makes perfect. I think just putting yourself in those vulnerable situations as much as you can. The more you sing in public, or in front of your peers, or in front of people that maybe you do feel uncomfortable to sing in front of, the more you put yourself into that situation, your body's going to learn that that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's not going to learn that unless you do it point blank. It's just not going to.
That's brilliant advice.
It is scary. It just is scary. Push through it. Yeah, because the outcome is obviously going to be greater than not doing so.
Yeah.
And nowadays we all kind of do have to sing, or for singers, they have to dance. It's just how the industry is right now. So the best time to do it is not in an audition, is to get it out of the way before then. So at least it doesn't feel as abnormal, I guess, for your voice and your body when you go into that space where it is pressuresome.
Yeah. Just finally, what is the main advice that you would give students, budding performers going into this industry?
Tenacity, number 1. Know yourself, learn about yourself, learn about your strengths, and learn about your weaknesses, and work on those equally as much to become a balanced product, I guess, if that's how you want to think about it. And just soak up as much as you can, find your whys. I think having idols is not necessarily so healthy, but find people that you look up to and that you maybe do admire, see what you can take from them, or what can they teach you that you can actually take with you. But also individuality is so important. And I don't mean cut your hair so you look different to everybody else. I just mean what you have to bring to the table, nobody has to bring to the table. That is the truth. So nurturing that and finding that, going in and being yourself is actually going to book you the job way over going in and trying to be somebody else. It's quite vulnerable in a way to find that, but finding who you are and what you have uniquely to bring to the table is probably, for me, the most important thing, because that's what's going to get you the job. And even how you come across as a person, and that matters. It really matters. So just not being afraid to kind of be yourself, I guess. And sometimes that takes a bit of searching and finding, but it's quite a beautiful journey. So enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride, honey.
Enjoy the ride, baby, because it is a ride. It's still a ride.
Is.
It never stops. Yeah, it never stops. You're so passionate about it and you really want it. You just got to keep knocking and finding, this door's closed. Okay, so I've got to go around this way. What does that look like? How do I do that? Ask for advice, talk to people, learn.
Brilliant. All right, that's it for another episode. Don't forget to comment, and subscribe. And wherever you are on your performer's path, stay safe and sane, and let your creative light shine bright on whatever you do.